From WSLN, the Weathered Soul Liberty Network, based in Gilroy, California, the Garlic capital of the world, we give you the Weathered Soul podcast with DJ Dougie and Bruce, aka the Weathered Soul. Stay with us for the next hour for intriguing conversation about our community, Gilroy, the South Bay, national scene, and even stuff around the world. So give us a little time and we will entertain you. Hey, how's it going out there? You got Bruce, aka the Weathered Soul, and DJ Dougie over there, who's the best co-host of all podcasts possible. How you guys doing today? Welcome to the Weathered Soul podcast, the best podcast you've never heard of, and we welcome you here. We thank you for being here on your Thursday night, 7 o'clock here in Gilroy area. And I don't have to do exactly what I told Dougie that I had to do because the show popped up over here on my laptop, and we got the chat lines open tonight. We got the chat lines open on YouTube. We have the chat lines open in the comment box here on the StreamYard. We want to say hello. Kenneth says hello. We're going to show him right there. There he is. Kenneth Madden says hello. And we say hello back to you, man. We thank you guys for being here. You can catch us all over the place, but we have a big change that went on during the week. My week has been really, really full. And Dougie told me that last week, or the last show that we were on, that I rambled on for, what was it? Was it 17 minutes or 27 minutes?
17, only
17 minutes about other podcasts and websites and stuff like that. But I can't be more excited about being with the Nomad Network. And I've been doing a lot of stuff with the Nomad Network. And I got my hand slapped this last weekend. I got this hand slapped because I'm in business for myself on a couple of things. And I don't separate my business from my personal accounts, and I really need to do that because tax time's coming up and I can drive an accountant crazy. And I also didn't have an accountant. So I've been doing a couple of things, and that's a couple of the things that I did do. And it was just really exciting to do because now, I've got all these things going on, and that spawned the next step that I did. So 2 weeks ago was our last show audio-wise on Anchor.fm. So we're saying goodbye again to Anchor.fm, and we are going to be on Spreaker coming up. Now, the Weathered Soul podcast will not drop on a Friday. There's a couple of logistic reasons why it's not going to drop the day after we do the podcast, but there is some logistics reasons on prime times for a podcast to drop and this and that. So our podcast will be live on Thursday night every 2 weeks, but our podcast will probably drop on Monday morning around 5 o'clock in the morning. That way we're at the top of the charts and you're able to get the audio podcast on Spreaker. So it's going to be an exciting change for us. I'm going to give you just a quick little look at the amount of podcasts that you can get on Spreaker. And right now what I've got is here's the Weathered Soul podcast that'll be there. And then I've got the Bruce for Liberty podcast, which we launched last week. I've got the Morning Drive, which is one of the most popular podcasts we have right now, that I have right now. And then we have the In the Pit of My Stomach podcast, where John Odermatt and me get together when we talk about health and wellness stuff. And I'm just really excited about having this new place where I can go to do the more podcasting and stuff like that. One central area where I can do all the shows at the same time. I don't have to have separate emails and all kinds of things. I get advertisement. I get all kinds of good things. So it's just a real good change, I think, for the podcast and for the Weathered Soul Liberty Network. And that's what I've been excited about. I mean, I've been rip roaring and ready to go, man. I've got my vacation coming up tomorrow. At 4 o'clock tomorrow, I check out, and I won't be back until after the Thanksgiving holiday. And of course, we're going to spend Thanksgiving together, there, Dougie. I'm really excited about that. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, absolutely. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. I'm excited I'm excited to have your pumpkin pie that you make every year. And you said it was really bad last year, but you know what? I ate every bit of it. So, I mean, I don't think it was bad at all.
No, the last one I made, I wasn't happy with, but yeah, it's funny. I saw a little thing about, like, what do you have Thanksgiving dinner? I mean, it might have been on one of those comedy shows or something like. But anyway, it's like apple pie or pumpkin pie, and it's like, apple pie is what you have because it's, it's good. It's American apple pie, right? And then they're thinking about pumpkin pies. Pumpkin pie's got no taste. Pumpkin's got no taste. It's like, what is it? Just kind of like blah, right? Well, it's like. I looked at my wife and said, "That's why you put a little pinch of cayenne in it."
Well, I love your pumpkin pie, man. I
Yeah, and
think your
that's the
pie's the
secret.
best, dude. It's just like I said.
I would suggest this to all of our listeners: just a pinch of cayenne, like what you can hold between your finger and your thumb, and drop it in there with your spice mix because it really kind of like lights up your tongue a little bit and gets the taste of the cinnamon and nutmeg up into your head a little more. It really makes a difference in pumpkin pie. That's why you love my pumpkin pie.
Okay, cool. Cooking with Doug. Maybe there's a new podcast, or I don't know. That'd be one of those damn Yankee recipes that we're going to be doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Although that damn Yankee recipe, I probably came up with. I was still living in Connecticut, but I was a grown up by the time I decided to put cayenne. There was a period where I was putting spice in everything I ate. I was like, as spicy as you can stand it is the best way to eat it.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, then I grew up.
Well, I got a great big 23-pound turkey, man, that I'm going to smoke and then cook up and broil up for Thanksgiving, and we'll just have all the trimmings and everything. That's going to be great, man. You know how I love.
Are you going to roll? Are you going to roll that up or smoke it in a pipe?
I don't know, man. They keep breaking the papers, so you never know what's going to happen next. But anyway, hey, I need some feedback from you guys out there in the Weather Soul podcast land, because I don't know if you can hear this, but somebody had made some comments in the last couple of episodes that I've done from the Weather Soul podcast at the AJM studios that they can hear my squeaky chair in the background. And I tried to get rid of the squeak.
Oh, now you got it. I got a stinky chair.
Now I've got a stinky, greasy chair. And it still squeaks. But
Bruce, my reply to them would be, you should be listening to the words coming out my mouth, not coming out my chair.
Well, I'm looking for a new office chair, some kind of office chair that's nice and comfy and everything. And I know I'm going to pay the price for it, but somebody out there, if you've got it, just make sure that give me a link or something. Give me an idea of what I should have. I really want a nice chair that doesn't squeak and that's really comfortable, because I sit in this chair a lot. I mean, I'm in this office a lot of the times during the week after I get home from work. So a nice ergonomic chair would be nice. I've been looking at these X chairs and stuff like that, and they're really expensive, but I've got one at work. I got a generic one at work, and it's pretty good. It don't squeak. So that's what I like.
Well, the thing is how long they last.
How's that?
How long the chair lasts.
Yeah.
And how well it's constructed. And also, any chair that you're going to be sitting in for more than a couple hours at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like I said,
it has to be a good chair.
Yeah, you can tell the difference between a good chair and a bad chair. And right now I'm sitting in a bad chair. So but one of the things I wanted to do, just to open up the show, we're gonna talk about old money. We're gonna talk about new money. We're gonna talk about inflation that's all over the place. Me and Dougie had a little lively minute before the podcast. I'm sure it's gonna be pretty fun. But I really want to open the podcast with something that I've been thinking up with, and a lot of us go to the news every day, whether we listen to Fox, CNN, NBC. I hope nobody does around here, but I mean, that's kind of where the majority of the people do their clicking through to different news items and stuff like that. And a lot of people actually watch these three networks, and believe me, I stopped watching them. I kind of like to click around them every once in a while just to get a laugh and something like that. So what I want to show you right now is actually three things that really don't affect your life. And these were taken off of the websites probably less than an hour ago. So I wanted to let you know. We're going to go with my favorite one, Fox News first. Things, and I'm going to have, and the fun is that I want to have Dougie come in and commentary on it because I think it'll be fun. Here we go. Here's the first one. The first one is run for your money. Live updates. The House may slam through socialist spending bill tonight after a massive true cost is revealed. This is out of Fox News, Dougie, and I know how you love Fox News. Give me a little commentary on the picture, the way that everything's written, and just, the spectacular stuff of it. Just give me your
Well, I'd say one thing is nice to see at least some Democrats growing some balls. That's the first thing I see. Next, it's like, yeah, okay, socialist spending. That's stupid. All right. If you want to call government spending socialist spending, go right ahead. But if you know what it means, then it doesn't bother you. And the true cost, who cares about the true cost? I mean, really, what's money? We print it. We're
definitely going to have that discussion later. So here's the next one that we go to. We're going to go to another one of our favorites from the big three. We're going to go to CNN here. CNN. So we got the couple vanished after stealing millions in COVID relief funds. And of course, we have Kyle Rittenhouse. The jury ends third day deliberations without a verdict. So what do you say about those two headlines, Dougie? I haven't even heard anything about the relief fund stuff.
Well, I think if I could steal millions in COVID relief funds, I'd vanish too. I'd probably be in a nice villa in southern Mexico somewhere right now, and not be found. And as far as the kids go, well, they probably deserved it. But the Rittenhouse thing, this is gonna be hairy. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? It's a lose-lose situation all the way around. And unfortunately, I got a little commentary on that.
Is today day 3 or day 4?
Yeah, it said day 3. And you know what? If they would have came back with a verdict within the first day or the second day, they probably would have acquitted him. But I think now they're deliberating on whether it's first or second degree murder. And I don't think, even if they come back with a murder verdict and whatever, I still think the Kenosha is going to burn, and it's going to be unfortunate. They got 500, I guess, National Guard on call to help call down the violence, but I just don't see it happening. So it's a sad situation. But we're going to go on to the next one, and this one is my favorite. The MSLSD network or MSNBC is now. We can now call the 2022 midterms. The GOP wins. Dougie, give me your best shot here.
You should be scared. Very, very scared. The Capitol sinking into a sea of red. I don't know what else to say.
Well, this is the kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff you get from the Weather Soul podcast. We were just welcoming you in here because we have a great time being here. And there's a couple of places that you can find us online, and one of them is the Weather Soul, aka Weather Soul, or the Weather Soul podcast. Facebook group, and you can get there just by typing in your little search box right here, right there. You can go the Weather Soul podcast.
I got a spinning wheel.
Great. Yeah. Well, you keep spinning there because I'll just keep going on with the show. So you can get us there on the Weather Soul Liberty Network or Weather Soul Podcast Facebook site. You can go in there, you can join, and you can get my yammering that I do on a daily basis. And then you can also subscribe. If you're looking at YouTube right now, you can subscribe to the Weather Soul Liberty Network. We're not leaving YouTube anytime soon, but you can get all of our podcasts that we do every day, that I do every day, and that me and Dougie do every 2 weeks. We also got the Bruce for Liberty podcast, The Morning Drive, and the Epitomize Stomach. And also I am on the Nomad Liberty or the Nomad Network, which is www.nomadnetwork.app. If you want to come in and just be a part of a bunch of great people that are motivating and want to just go into business and do different things. I mean, there's all kinds of things that they go into: artists, musicians, farmers, programmers, solar guys. You name it, they're there. Anyhow, Dougie, how you been, man?
Good.
Are you
All
are you
right.
done? Are you done twirling now?
Yeah, no, it was just while you're doing the ad there, both screens went white.
No, okay.
I don't know if that happened to anybody else.
It doesn't have. I mean, I got this little twirly thing right here in my background, so maybe that was twirling for you. I don't know. What are you doing these days? Anyway, so what I want to talk about is we want to talk about what's going on with the state of the country and what might or might not be happening, or what has happened through history with the directions that not only the country goes but the world goes. And as everybody knows right now, things are tough. I mean, we have supply chain difficulties, we have supply and demand difficulties. We're going into the Christmas holiday season. It's going to be interesting to see what Black Friday looks like. When you've got probably less than what's usually on the shelves still on the shelves. And it's going to be really interesting. We've got inflation at an all-time high right now, and we've got millionaires and, or what Bernie would say is millionaires and billionaires out there that should be paying their fair share of taxes. But we want to kind of get into the history of things, and Dougie is slightly more informed than I am with the old money and stuff like that. We can talk about all kinds of things. I mean, what really interested me in it was the fact that you do have the people that always come up in the conversation about the what is that, the Rothsteins, or what was the name, the old name,
Like Rothschilds or
the Rothschilds, all this old money that's way back that really kind of started things in the world.
Well, there's different kinds of old money, but
yeah,
all the old money came from people who exploited. All right, and here's my left side, our resources. Okay.
Our resources, like the
world,
the world's resources.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to.
The first people to get into oil,
people
to get into oil and do it right,
Mm-hmm.
at the boom, made a lot of money. Okay,
Right.
but also, 4,000 years ago, the people who had salt made a lot of money. Right. And the thing is like you say, a lot of this gets handed down family. That's family money. The ownership of the businesses and all that stuff gets passed down generation to generation. The money grows, money gets stashed.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, we'll talk about new money later, but with old money, the thing is it's not just old money. We're not just talking about cash when we say money. We're talking about wealth, like real estate, property, land with resources on it yet to be tapped.
Assumed power.
And power too by influence of one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, the Queen of England. I mean, the Queen of England's a perfect, that lineage of power goes down, decades and if not centuries of people of the same line and birth, and so that has something to do with it. One of the things that's really interesting. One of the things that's really interesting to me is that I've heard in the circles that I hang with is that even though the big evil thing right now is capitalism, is that capitalism has only been around for maybe 200 years. Before that, people made their money and got their power and got their wealth by conquering other people, and I mean that's basically how life was lived. I mean, if you happen to be born, but if you happen to be born, in some, wherever you were born at, whoever was the king of that piece of land, you were under him. I mean, that's
right. Well, and that's the thing. By definition, the king was the capitalist at that time.
By definition, the king was the well, you would call him a monarch.
Well, and this is going to roll back into my view of things. It's still happening today.
Mhm.
Except
Well, yeah.
we're not working as serfs under the king on his property, farming his land and giving him his cut so that we could live in a little shabby hut, you know, and eat rotten rabbit. Things are a little bit different now, but really a lot the same.
As I was watching,
Now
as
we're
I was
working for
watching.
we're working for what I call the lizard, or the owners of the
Okay.
company, making them rich while we still slave away, which is something that I love about you, is your drive to break away from that,
Oh yeah. Well,
which
absolutely.
is truly freedom.
Yes, but under the same token, as I look at that and I theorize that in my head because that's where I'm driven, I keep wanting to go forward and do things for myself. I still need a customer base. I still need to go out there and I need to recruit those people that want to buy my product or listen to my podcast or whatever the case may be. I mean, there's still, I become the capitalist and I become the person that wants to, remove the money from you so that I can prosper. But I think there's some differences in
Right. But the
that.
point is, you want to do it for yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't want to do it
Yeah.
for I would. I love wealth, power, and influence. Believe me,
And
I
that's
would
hard
love
to
to be
do.
wealthy. I would love be wealthy that I don't have to worry about anything else. I would love to have power over to be able to coerce anybody to buy my products. And I'd like to have influence to be, a great podcaster like Joe Rogan or somebody else like that. Be
Now,
able to
let's say
have
you wanted to
those
be,
million.
let's say you wanted to be an oil company.
If I
What do
wanted to
you
be
think
an
that what do you think the chances are you'd be able to get a permit to drop a well somewhere?
virtually zero unless I
That's
have somebody behind
yeah,
me like old money.
like right, what is that? Halliburton?
Hello, Trump.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need some. I
No,
need
not
about
Trump. Trump is only 2
a.
generations of money. They made their money in World War II exploiting people.
Elon. Hey, Elon.
Yeah. No. How about Mr. Rockefeller?
Yeah, Mr.
Do
Rockefeller.
you think you talk to Halliburton for me and maybe give me a half acre? They're somewhere in Montana, buddy.
The only time that happens, and I heard that happened, during this last oil boom that they had up in what was it, North Dakota, South Dakota? Is that what it was? And I think, didn't you tell me the story? I'm not sure if you told me the story or not, but somebody had some land in either North or South Dakota. I can't remember where it was. And the gas company or somebody came up on their land and said, "Hey, we want to have we're looking for oil or natural gas or whatever," and they found, natural gas and oil on his land, and guy retired. I mean, he was able to say, "Hey, yeah, you got this part of my land, have at it." And now the guy doesn't have to freaking work a day in his life anymore because they're pumping
But
whatever it
that
is
doesn't
out of his
happen
land.
so much anymore because now
No,
they have their plot of land and they can drill down and then go
and
5
then
miles over right underneath
that's
your house
amazing, dude.
and
That is
suck it
amazing.
dry, and you can go, "Where'd my oil go? I thought it was mine." And then, no, you own the dirt about 6 inches deep. Yeah.
But that's the way you do it, you keep putting that motor oil from your oil changes down in your down your backyard or something like that. You'll have an oil well one of these days.
Yeah. Well, in the good old days before it was, found, before we knew better, we used to use like old motor oil to like on dirt roads and stuff to keep the dust down.
Oh
Like
yeah, exactly.
town
Yeah.
would like spray the stuff on the dirt. Yeah. Right through people's property that have wells.
I saw a picture the other day of somebody, and I don't know if it was true or not, but they had some kind of fogger or something, and this was back like in the 40s. It looked like the 40s or 30s, and they said that they were spraying DDT on the kids to rid them of lice. And I don't know if that was true or not. It was just something that I saw, kind of like, they make these little memes. You don't know whether they're new or old, or because they have old text and stuff like that. It's all kind of weird, man. But it's really weird on how
Yeah.
they do
Well,
that. So
I
you
think a
never
little bit
know.
of exposure to DDT isn't going to kill you. It's not that
Yeah.
it's not that bad. Just you don't want prolonged exposure to it, especially if you're breeding.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, so I mean, so getting back to the subject about old money is just that we need to realize that we have come from a power structure where it used to be war and conquer. It's still war and conquer. I mean, really, we're still warring over oil and other resources, but it's a much different playing field now. And like Doug said, it's not like that Doug can go, buy a plot of land and say, I'm going to start an oil company, because I think that the regulatory commissions and stuff like that will want their great big chunk of change before Dougie even gets to put even a shovel into his land. So,
well, do you remember the Telecom Wars? AT&T versus MCI versus ITT versus. You remember back in the 80s? I don't know
um,
if late 80s. It was
yeah.
like you get a phone call from AT&T. We'll give you $200 to switch over to us right now. Okay, cool. Send me a check. Boom, you're on AT&T now. And then a week later, MCI would call. We'll give you $150 to switch over to us right now. Cool, send me on.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, they're still doing that. I mean, they're still doing that. So, I mean, this is still a big market share
So,
thing going on.
and Wendy's at war with Burger King, at war with McDonald's, at war with Taco Bell.
Right.
At least the ones that like what is it, Taco Bell and Pizza Hut and KFC are all owned by one conglomerate.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
I think a religious group.
No, I think it's Coca-Cola.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Pepsi.
I think it's Coca-Cola.
Coke.
Yeah, Coke.
Whatever they sell.
Yeah.
Whatever drink they sell.
Coca-Cola. That's what we call it now.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
Who's we?
I know you don't call anything anything.
Speak for yourself.
I'm sorry. Dougie's the perfect guy on the podcast.
I just don't do the bandwagon jumping thing.
So switching gears right now, since we were talking about old money and how old money has kind of shaped everything that we're doing, as far as our corporate structure, as far as our economic structure that we're going through right now. I mean, probably, I don't know how Doug feels about it, but I think when they got rid of the gold standard, that really kind of set us up for, there's probably some evil things going on with the gold standard, and we got the same thing going on with Bitcoin today. But I don't see any kind of logical reason why people just keep printing money. I mean, that drives me wild. And we're gonna get to the subject of inflation later on, but to me, to have sound money, to have something with a value that's backing what you actually use as a buy and sell, I think is important to me. But
what do you mean by backing it?
Backing it with something
you think gold, this little shiny metal, is worth something?
Well, you can't eat it, but maybe peanut butter.
Yeah, but you can sell cars, right? You can sell technology. You can build ships. You can do a lot of things that, if you limit your economy, right? There's not enough gold in the world. Okay, so what's our economy right now? There's not enough gold in the world to back it. There's not enough gold in the world to back it. Okay.
Unless you increase the price of gold. I mean, that's where the theory comes in that
but who the hell cares?
Well, there's a lot of people that care right now. And there's a lot of people that care because Bitcoin's going down the same road. You got Bitcoin where there's a very small amount of people that own Bitcoin, that really own Bitcoin. I mean, as big as it is, cryptocurrency is owned by very small amount of people. And one of the problems that they were talking about, and this is one of the podcasts I was listening to today, is that they are using Bitcoin as a value mechanism to the dollar. And it's not connected to the dollar at all. And the dollar isn't connected to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is not connected to the dollar. But Bitcoin is defined in worth by the dollar. And that's a problem, because if they're talking about using Bitcoin as a decentralized currency or financial tool, then how can you compare it to the dollar or the yen or the euro or anything like that? That's not what it was meant to be used for. It was used for a decentralized currency with its worth kind of like gold or silver. It's only worth as much as what somebody else is willing to trade you for. And I guess I'm getting to trade and barter instead of
that's how it started. That's why we have
currency.
money.
Yeah. So I mean, do you think that scares the upper elite, the Wall Street people, the people that are in the high finance and central banks? I mean, that's kind of where I'm getting the kind of idea that maybe they don't want it going back to any kind of barter or trade service. I mean,
no, I don't think you would either. That's why we have money, because it's much more convenient. Because what happens?
Well, it is convenient. Yeah,
what
I
happens if
understand
you
this.
need something and you can't find somebody that wants to take what you have for
Well,
it?
that's true. Well, what happens when our money is
But
worthless?
they'll take your dollar.
Yeah, but what happens when that becomes worthless? What happens when that becomes worthless? Well, I mean, the perfect thing is Argentina. I mean, the Bolivar. I mean, they've had to put a row of zeros just to make the currency worth something, and their currency is basically worthless right now. I mean, I haven't looked at it lately. I mean, we haven't heard a lot.
And why is that?
Because they nationalized a bunch of industries and things like that. I mean, we can go back to government. We can go back to the old money, like you said, the old money, and what the people wanted and what the people voted in, or what the dictator, or excuse me, I can say this on here. The United States had a lot to do with what happened to Argentina, and there's a lot. I mean, hands down, it's not a mystery on what happened. So, we manipulate our own selves, and that worries me. But it also worries me in the same token that our dollar can be gone like that, dude, like tomorrow. And I mean,
where's it going to go?
Dude, who knows? Who knows where it's going to go? But other currencies have gone by the wayside. So I mean, there's no longer a British pound. It's now a euro.
That's because they needed to combine all of their resources to be able to compete in the world.
Yeah,
that's why the euro came about. Because it was like silly. It's like Texas having different currency than California, all right, or Nevada, and you having to go to exchange every time you went over to Vegas. I got to exchange my California dollars.
You have to
Nevada
exchange
dollars.
You have to exchange to different countries. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, well, you don't understand Europe. Okay, I'm talking about Europe.
Okay, well,
Europe isn't a giant place. It's like going from California to Nevada, and you have to change money. That's why they went to the euro. Pretty simple.
For decades and decades, it worked for decades before the euro. So I mean,
it was a pain in the ass for decades before the euro.
Well, then don't go.
It was a bloody pain in the ass. That's why they changed it, because they actually do stuff that helps. Let's make life easier. Well. And that way, the smaller countries, all right, are propped up by the richer ones too. Kind of like what happens in the United States. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think a California dollar would be worth compared to a Rhode Island dollar? Okay, if we were to have different exchanges in different economies. Okay, Rhode Island, they have
we don't.
Fishing,
I mean,
fishing industry.
The United States is its own country. So I mean,
right, but
have the dollar.
I'm trying to explain to you how it works in Europe.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
so what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? All right, like California with the sixth biggest economy in the world against a state that has like as many people as San Jose.
Okay.
What do you think would happen?
Well,
their dollars would have 1,000 zeros after them, and ours would have 2 zeros out, 0.00, right? They would have no zeros, just 0.00, and they would have 1 and 1,000 zeros, 0.00. Okay, so that's why they made the euro, and that's kind of like the why we have the dollar.
Yeah, okay.
That's how.
Another Econ 101 from DJ Dougie there. So
yeah,
anyway.
It actually is.
So we're gonna switch gears. And we're going to talk about new money now. So the new money is that we don't have. So you don't hear about William Randolph Hearst anymore. You don't hear about who whoever you were talking about before,
Rockefeller, or
Rockefellers
Rothschild,
and stuff
or
like that,
yeah.
because we have new millionaires and billionaires, as Bernie would call them, millionaires and billionaires. And one of them would be the richest man in the world right now. And this is from the week, excuse me, what's it called? The week. The week. Anyway, it's a website that I got this. I was checking out Google, and I said, hey, I want to know who the richest people in the world are. In the last, I think it was the last week was the criteria I was looking at. So the Billionaires Club, who are the richest people in the world, and the guy that front pages it right now is Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is, let's see, 255.2 or yeah, $255.2 billion, man. 255 and contrary to popular belief, that's not all in cash, guys. So
No.
I want everybody to know that that's not all in cash, because a lot of what these guys do is that they don't. I mean, Elon Musk doesn't even take a paycheck. He doesn't take a salary. What he does is he has stock, and he sells stock, and that's how his worth is concerned. So when you're talking about Elon Musk, you're talking about SpaceX, you're talking about Tesla, you're talking about all the innovative things that him and his, I guess, company or corporation is coming up with. It's been reported just recently that he was selling a bunch of his stock off, because I think the UN was saying something about, well, if Elon Musk would only sell 10% of his stock, they can cure world hunger or get rid of world hunger. And I think Elon Musk tried to make him blink. I'm not sure what the outcome was, or if there's any outcome in it. I'm sure Dougie's quickly looking it up to see what's happening on that. But there is a situation where I mean, these guys can actually sell off stock and be able to fund some of the world's sacrifices and calamities that we're in. But in the same token, they got there. I mean, Elon Musk had Tesla for I don't know how long. Elon Musk was not worth $255 billion right off the bat when he started Tesla. In fact, Tesla lost money for a decade before they even saw their first profit. And I think their first profit was not more than maybe 2 or 3 years ago. This is all investment money.
Which is what's normal if you're gonna do something like what he's doing with the cars.
Right, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
Now how
But
he
Elon
did
Musk was an entrepreneur when he was in high school.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about Stephen Jobs and guys like that. That all these guys are sitting in their garage in high school, building stuff while me and Dougie were out in freaking concerts and freaking causing havoc, other places.
I was building stuff in my garage too, but I was always like, yeah, nobody's going to want this.
So the next guy we're going to talk about is Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, the owner of the corporation Amazon, $193.3 billion. And if there was ever a hated name right now in all of business, it would be Jeff Bezos. And Jeff Bezos is like I said, say what you will. I don't know, Dougie, if you have Amazon coming by your house every day, but I know that Amazon comes by my house every day, and that I have I watch Amazon videos. I shop Amazon, dude. I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah.
He came up with a great product and a great way to combine people together.
What he did is he made that network of that little button on the bottom, sell something on Amazon.
Yeah.
Right? When you're browsing, you have the option to click a button and say, I have a product, I want to, get in on this. You can do that. I mean, because you can find all sorts of weird stuff on Amazon.
He was the innovator. The innovator. I got a news item that I heard today, and I didn't pull it up, but Google just lost an antitrust suit against the U.S. government. and you wouldn't. And I bet you don't know what it's for.
I think I read something on it. I can't remember though. Kind of
Google
looked at it.
got Google got sued by the U.S. government for advertising Google on Google. Now, I'm sure that it goes a lot deeper than that. But if I'm a company, I'm First Note Productions, and if I want, if Dougie had a company called DJ Dougie Enterprises, and DJ Doug says, "Hey, you know what? Whenever I go to Bruce's First Note Productions LLC website, the first thing I see is First Note Productions LLC wants to sell me something. Why don't I see DJ Dougie Enterprises selling something? I want a coffee cup.
Coffee cups.
Get a coffee cup. But what I'm saying is that that's exactly kind of what Google was into. It's like Google got sued for advertising themselves. It's incredibly stupid that even exists. I can't fathom in my mind the U.S. government suing me over advertising my own product from my own company. I mean, last time I checked, you don't have to do business with Google. You don't have to do business with DuckDuckGo. You don't have to do business with eBay or Amazon or anything like that. But basically what happens is that if you do go into business and you use websites like StreamYard, like what we're using, you're using places like Blue Note where we do our hosting and stuff like that, they are automatically in with Google and Amazon and places like that. So that's where you get that input of where if I say, I go to Google and I say, I want to see what the Weather Soul podcast is. Well, maybe 3 or 4 other podcasts come in before my podcast. Maybe all 4 of those podcasts before you see mine are Google podcasts. Well, what am I supposed to do? I guess I can pay Google a lot of money to have me up on the top, which would get me up on the top. But, to me, I think that's Google's.
Well, we're getting back to the, the first thing, it's a war, right? It's a war. Google's at war. They're competing against everybody else that's, in the same search engine type market.
Right.
Right. Microsoft's tried messing with them with their Bling or whatever the hell that thing was. And, they squashed that. Nobody's like, yeah, screw you.
Oh yeah. They had told Microsoft that they had that Netscape on there. They had app.
Then we get back to the early adopter thing. Like I said, the ones who get in at the beginning, we can look back in history. Okay. Right. The guy who put in the first oil well and said, I can sell this stuff. I'm going to go to the government and trick them into giving me the rights to suck every drop out of the earth till it implodes like a prune.
Let me regulate.
Is the one who made all the money off it.
Yeah, let me regulate myself so nobody else can get into on my turf. So
right, and so now is that fair? If you want to get into the oil business, so like if you want to get into the search engine business, is it fair that Google has total control of the market?
You better
because they were the first.
I would say that they have put artificial boundaries in the middle of it.
Well, it's perfectly fair, but is it fair for them to use their power now to repress you from being able to compete against them?
Apparently, Congress says.
And if you threaten them, they'll just buy you.
Well, apparently, that's what I'm saying. Apparently, that's what you really want is you want them to buy you. Basically, buy my product here, give me $20 million, I'll leave you alone. But apparently Congress has always sided with those. The lobbyists that go into Washington I've always sided with. I've never seen one come back with their butt hurt that they didn't get what they wanted. Because here you go, you got Google, you got Amazon, you've got this next guy. Bernard Arnault family. The Arnault is the wealthiest European on the list. The Frenchman oversees an empire of more than 70 brands, including Louis Vuitton and Sephora. You've got Bill Gates at $135.2 billion, the Microsoft founder, is a permanent fixture atop the rich list for the past 20 years. You got Larry Ellison of Oracle, American businessman, co-founder, chief officer of Oracle, who owns 35% of the software giant and a island in Hawaii, right? And you got Larry Page,
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg at 117.6 billion, who likes, fuckbook, and excuse my French, Sergey Brin, I've never heard of, was co-founder of Google until December 2019. He was the president of Alphabet. So there's your Google thing. Warren Buffett is still in the top 10 at 105 billion dollars. He's the Berkshire Hathaway chief executive, known as the Oracle of Omaha, and then last but not least, Mukesh Ambani, the Indian billionaire businessman, the chairman of Reliance Industries. The company has his interest in petrochemicals, oil, gas, and telecom and retail. So that rounds out the rest of those guys that are the richest people in the world. And so they have a lot of wealth, power, and influence, apparently, in this world, to be able to do what they want to and how they want to, which is cool with me. I'd like to be able to get in their footsteps. So if any of them are listening to this podcast, hey, I'm looking for a way in. Buy me out.
Well, and also, that's the thing too, is some of the older money in the bigger families too. It's like, there's a company called Schlumberger, and they make oil rig equipment. The, all those dogs and dollies, whatever, that they use for moving the pipes up and down and doing the oil well caps. So they made money. They built those things. They sold them to every oil company and made lots and lots of money. I worked for a company that was owned by the son-in-law of I think a dead daughter of the Schlumberger family, right? So Schlumberger and then their kids. Anyway, her husband inherited like 170 small companies from her, like when she died, that like she got from her family's wealth.
You fall into wealth.
Yeah, and one of those was a French company that the company I worked for bought, and then he invested into our company. And I met the guy once, and he was typical Euro. He had long, greasy hair. He's wearing like a yellow and green plaid jacket, and wanted, Johnny Walker Red in the office.
They're the worst dressers in the world, man. I'm telling you right now.
And he stank.
There is the worst.
He stank like he hadn't taken a shower in a week.
I know a couple of the high rollers here in the South Valley here. We were at a party one time, and I met the owner of one of the high end recycle companies around here, and I just went like, really? And he's telling me how much he was worth and what he owed and everything, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going like, really? But I mean, to each his own. I mean,
to each his own. Yeah, but I'm just saying,
people have quirks and stuff like that. It's just really strange how wealth, power, and influence really doesn't change your physical habit or your mental habit or whatever the case may be. You would think that if I was worth $1 million or billions of dollars, that all of a sudden I would probably be out of this house. Yeah, I probably would not be wearing Hanes t-shirts. I'd be wearing probably something a little bit better. But I mean, sometimes people just like Howard Hughes, who just kind of reclused himself, and when they found him, his fingernails were 15 inches long and stuff like that. It's kind of just weird how people are and how they respond to wealth or whether they had any kind of mental health before they even got the way they were. It's just crazy. It's insane, man.
There's one thing that's true about most successful business people and successful politicians is they are psychopaths. Okay. No, they are. They think I'll agree with that. They are great, and they have no empathy for your problems.
I will agree with that. With that. There's probably not too many people.
It's something that's almost necessary for success in this society of ours.
That's too bad.
You have to have psychopathic tendencies. You have to be like insane, but you have to have psychopathic. Almost everyone that's successful is a psychopath of some sort. and
Maybe I'll have to turn
it's a
into a
lack of
psychopath.
empathy for your. It's a lack of empathy. I mean, that's
I don't have lack of empathy.
yeah,
I care
that's
about people.
yeah.
That
So
sucks.
you're
I'm
not going
never
to be
gonna.
an,
I'm
you're
never
not
gonna
going to
be a
be able
billionaire.
to. Yeah, you're not going to be a Jeff Bezos.
I'm not gonna be a Jeff
And I'm
Bezos.
not saying that there's anything wrong with that. It's if you don't have that drive and that lack of fear or lack of fear of remorse, if you don't have the ability to put that past you, like I don't give a fuck, I'm going forward. I'm
Well,
great. I'm going forward. And if this doesn't work, I'll do the next thing. If that doesn't work, I'll do the next thing. If that doesn't work, I'll do the next thing. And I don't care how many people fall to the sides on my way through. If you have that, you will be a success.
Yeah, I guess in a way that you can say it that way. And thanks, Chris, for your comment there. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I'm driven that way. I mean, basically, as I've been going with this Nomad Network, I've been just, full on board going forward with everything that I've got. However, if I'm willing to step on somebody's head to make it up to the next rung, that answer would be no.
Dude, you're not even the same universe
But
of the people
I
I'm
know,
talking about.
but I
Okay,
know,
so don't compare
no,
yourself to them.
I know, but what I'm saying is that
Don't even try.
you have to crawl a ladder. You have to crawl a ladder to get to where you're at. I mean, Elon Musk didn't start out as
You can be happily successful and a decent person.
Exactly. I mean, you can have
like a lot of doctors are very wealthy.
You can have
a
few money. You can have a few money. You can have a few money.
But you're not going to be Jeff Bezos. Okay, pal?
You can have willpower and influence and not be a dick.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's call it that. So
no,
we're going to move on because we've got a very short amount of time left to get to our last subject, which was a very heated subject because we should have had a pre-show. Don't have a pre-show yet. So I don't actually know how to do one, get kind of private people into the pre-show and stuff like that. But we have a problem with inflation, and unfortunately, Dougie has a completely different idea. I think it's unfortunate that you have a different definition of inflation that I do, or the reason why we have inflation that I do. But I think that
I think you should feel bad about it.
I should always feel bad about being right. So, I mean, anyway, from Market Watch, the U.S. retail sales jumped 1.7, but high inflation plays a role. I'm just going to go here just a minute. The number of sales at the U.S. retailers such as Walmart and Amazon rose in October at the fastest pace in 7 months, and another good showing of the economy. But high inflation has also exaggerated the amount of spending. The retail sales surged 1.7% last month, the government said on Tuesday, and that's the biggest gain since March, when the government doled out billions of dollars in stimulus monies to families. Economists polled at the Wall Street Journal had a forecast of a 1.5% increase. Retail sales are a big part of consumer spending after the offers cue off the strength of the U.S. economy. Sales have risen sharply this year as retailers are expecting a solid end of the year, even with the pandemic lingering. Yet, such as half of the increase in sales last month were tied to higher prices. A separate government survey last week showed that consumer prices rose almost 1% in October amid the biggest surge in the U.S. inflation in 31 years.
Can you scroll back up to that graph?
Yeah, hold on a minute. Let's go right up here. What do you see about that graph there? You want to bring
I
on
was just looking at it. So we're looking at this is 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
All right, so 21 and a half. That's what we're looking at.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So
what amazes me?
So between 20, there was a big recession. Mm-hmm. So it went way down, and then it jumped back up to normal, and then it made another jump.
And then it made another
way
jump.
Up. Otherwise, the slope looks pretty constant, right? So it's just up to about the middle of 20. Then all of a sudden, everything started skyrocketing. Now it leveled off a little bit, and it's starting to go up again.
Right.
All right, so that makes sense. It's pretty much. Yeah.
So what amazes me, what confuses me about this, and I just paid the most I ever paid for gas in my life this last week. $4.55 at the Gilroy Costco. I was in shock.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
but
it's still only $88 a barrel.
Whoa!
It's only $88 a barrel for oil.
Hold on.
Who's making all the money?
Hold on. Hold on. So
Well, you brought it up.
I want to bring a couple of things into sight here. Just not gas, because gas is not the only thing that's gone up. Let's talk about beef.
Right, but
Let's
you're talking
talk-
about inflation.
Okay, but we're going to talk about inflation. I call it the hidden tax, which you hate.
Yeah, I
But
think that's. I'll keep it.
it is the hidden tax. It is the hidden tax because
It's
we
tax you
have
put on yourself.
we have a situation where, well, yeah, it's a tax you put on yourself because we have to eat, we have to drive, we have to
No,
do
you
this.
put it on yourself.
What do you mean I put it on myself?
You put
Explain.
it on yourself.
Explain.
Explain what?
Explain. I put it on myself.
What causes inflation?
Well, there would be supply and demand. Number one would cause inflation.
And,
It would be.
and who's
It would
demanding?
be. It would be.
Who's demanding?
It would be, I'm getting at the sources of inflation. So it's supply and demand. It's also interruption in the supply chain.
Mhm.
It's also the printing of money and the influx of the not the inflation of the actual dollar money, the paper, but the actual inflation that it causes in consumer prices. That's what I'm getting at. They can print all the money they want.
Yeah. Well,
And-
it's just
and-
like
and- and
Argentina.
they can
The more money
exchange
you
it, and
print,
they
the
can-
less each one's worth. Right?
Yes, but that's a small amount. I mean, that's
And
called
why is
monetary.
that?
That's
That's
called
because
monetary,
everybody has
but that's
more of
called
them.
monetary inflation.
Everybody has more of them, so each one's worth less.
But monetary inflation causes sooner or later causes consumer inflation. And consumer inflation is the one that I'm most worried about because you say that I'm putting it on myself.
Yeah.
But what about single mom with 3 kids that's struggling? She's working 3 jobs and she's got to pay $4.55 a gallon for gas.
Fine. Then
get
you're
back
putting
and
it on
forth
her
with them.
too. Then
I'm putting it on her for why? Because I pay the $4.55. I'm more adjusted to be able to buy $4.55 gas.
do you spend money on things that you don't absolutely need for you and your 4 kids?
I try not to. I mean, I'm not extravagant. I don't think
I'll
I'm
have to mute.
extravagant. Huh?
I'll have to mute soon. How many guitars do you have?
I have 6 or 7 guitars. Are you telling me I cause inflation in guitars? I like guitars.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that this inflationary thing that's going on right now, we haven't seen it in 31 years. I think the last time we saw inflation like this was back in the 90s. And before that, it was late 70s, I think it was. I mean, we're back that far. I can't remember what it was.
Here's another thing too. You got to remember that. Okay, so in the late 60s, early 70s, a mortgage cost you 15%.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we go back to that. I couldn't even imagine paying 15% on a loan for a house. That's crazy.
Well, and you would buy a much smaller house, wouldn't you?
But to me, that I mean,
and a much smaller house needs fewer lights, fewer chairs, less carpet. Okay, all stuff that people are buying, making a demand in a market that cannot supply it, and so the price goes up.
Let me see. Can I equate that to my closet space in my house? I have
certainly. I bet you can.
This much closet space.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife Tracy has. Can you see that?
Yeah, we won't go there.
That's what causes inflation. You're closer to the kitchen than I am, Dougie. So the pot could come flying out of the kitchen really quick.
Well, I think here is.
Kent Madden said the homes were much less expensive in relation to income too, and that's true. That is absolutely true.
What made houses go up? Inflation, right? There you have it. It's and why can people afford the houses they can today? Because in 1967, if you made $180 a week, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
In
Can you imagine making $180 work?
2021. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. There's so many things involved in the
So people want
inflationary process.
raises so they can buy more stuff, spend
Well,
more
you see,
money,
that's
create more demand,
we're just
blah,
gonna
blah,
go a
blah.
little.
It's a perpetual
I want to
thing.
talk about that. I want to talk about
So
that.
the point I'm
No, I
trying to
want to talk.
make
Yeah,
is
I want to talk about that real quick.
inflation is not an ugly thing. It's a natural
No,
thing. It's
I
like
want to
telling a
talk about that
tree
real
it
quick.
shouldn't grow.
Yeah, but hold on around. We're just going to a couple minutes long here. That's what's always stymied me. It's like back in the day, back in the 60s, when you were making $180 a week, and you had your wife who stayed at home with your three kids,
In the
and you
late
were
60s,
able
early 70s, I was
yeah,
making
and
about 25 cents a week.
yeah, and but you were able to buy a house. You were able to live basically the middle class life, right? So was it who was it that started
I
this?
got to be honest with you.
Was it me that wanted not the $3.75 an hour? I wanted the $5 an hour, or was it the union that came in and says we want to unionize you so we can pay you better wages and get you better benefits, or was it the corporate structure that says we can pay a lot, or we can demand a lot more money for our products, so there we're gonna make a better product and charge you more money? I mean, kind of where does that come from? I mean, where did that start? I mean, to me, it sounds to me like, yeah, our economy has to go up, but I mean, we went a steep up, man. We didn't do. I mean, we can look at the gradual graph again as much as you want.
Also, another
But
thing too.
that's not gradual. That is a steep
Look
climb.
at your house.
Mhm.
Okay. In the first, let's say, probably 30 years of your house,
Born
it had the same
1965.
stove. It had the same stove,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
And then maybe for the next 20 years, it had the same stove.
Yeah.
Now, in the last 10 years, how many stoves has it had?
Oh man, you know how many stoves I've had. I've had 3 stoves.
That's inflation.
Stoves. I've had 2.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And if we want to get back
right?
to the whole big circle of things, okay, I'm just going to say this one thing for thought, okay?
Hmm.
People go to college and study hard to learn how to take your money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Which means that you need more money.
Yep.
Which means now there's more money in the market, which means that things are going to cost more, which just means inflation. And everybody getting all upset about inflation. It's like we've had inflation before, and guess what? We didn't die from it.
We got through it. We got through it.
Yeah. The only difference between now and then is that people are hearing more about it, and more people are pulling scare taxes. It's taxes, tactics.
Taxes.
Yeah,
Don't
scare
say taxes.
like inflation.
That's a bad word to you, taxes.
Yeah.
Computers and televisions have dropped through the floor, which goes directly against inflationary rises. Technology can also be the check on inflation or the free market rules. Yeah, I'll agree with that too, Ken, because of the fact that, so much of our stuff is actually, just so outsourced to different countries who make this stuff who make this stuff on a greatly smaller margin of cost versus labor.
Right. You pay $40 for a pair of pants that cost 12 cents to make.
Right. And to tell you the truth, everybody goes like, oh, those poor people over in China making 12 cents a day and stuff like that. But that 12 cents a day to them is like, I don't know what, $20 an hour to us. I mean, you have to look at the culture of the economy, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, so it's been an interesting conversation, Doug. It really has, man. I really enjoy what we said tonight, and I really enjoy all the people that were here, man. I want to thank everybody that's been here.
Oh my God, that was a fast hour.
Yeah, if you guys like this content, if you guys got something out of this content, if you like it, man, hit that share button, hit the subscribe button. We're at the Weather Soul Liberty Network on YouTube, because most of you are watching. Anybody who's watching is watching this on YouTube or Facebook, for that fact. But yeah, we want to thank you for being here. I got the #1 freaking co-host of all podcasts, and Dougie, man, and I like to gush over him every time we're ready to end this podcast, because he's the #1 guy, and he's not for sale, so you guys can't have him. But
Oh yeah,
Ken,
yeah.
yeah.
He had a bidding war with Colbert the other night. You can't have him. You can't have him.
Thank you, Ken, for a great comment, man, and thank everybody who commented
guys.
on the Weather Soul podcast tonight. We're going to be back in 2 weeks to give you another show. You guys have a great Thanksgiving. Be out there and go. DJ has some good points to consider. Yeah, Ken, we're going to have you on the podcast next to you. You and DJ Dougie can gang up on me, whatever. Anyway, I want to wish you guys a real happy Thanksgiving. Get together with your families, break bread with your friends, drink wine, and have a great time, because this is the season that we should be thankful. And I'm thankful that I'm here and that I've got DJ Dougie, who comes here all the time. He's going to be breaking bread with me on Thanksgiving, him and his lovely wife Abby. And man, and I'm thankful for you guys that have subscribed to the network. I'm thankful for the Nomad app. I'm thankful for Jason Stapleton, who has put me on this road to give me the drive to want to go forward and do all these things to enrich not only myself, but to enrich the community around me. And I'm sure I speak for Dougie when I say you guys have a happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Everybody, happy Thanksgiving. We'll
DJ,
see you in a week or two.
Say goodnight, Dougie.
Good night, Dougie.
It's the end of the Weather Soul podcast, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. Have a good